If you're a small or medium-sized business in 2025, I bet that you are drowning in spreadsheets, you're losing track of customers, and you are missing follow-ups and ultimately leaving money on the table. This is why a CRM might be the best thing you could add to your business. Now, the idea now is that we are in 2025. Therefore, tech is on another level, it is evolving rapidly, and this means that we can upgrade from a traditional CRM to something that could help us scale even further and faster, to a Hyper CRM. And the good news is that you don't need to be a software developer or you don't need any coding skills in order to develop a Hyper CRM for your business. This is exactly what we are going to talk in this video. We are going to cover what is a Hyper CRM, who is it best for, we are going to break down how to plan building a Hyper CRM, and we are going to go over building one live. So why does this matter right now? Because there are a lot of CRM apps out there, and you being able to create a custom CRM that fits exactly how your business runs, it can help you scale 2 to 3 times faster than a traditional CRM, and it could automate a lot of your tasks. It is a pretty big deal. So let's get into the video and firstly see what is actually a Hyper CRM. First of all, if you didn't know, a CRM, a traditional CRM, which is a customer relationship management, it's just a tool that helps you keep track of your customers, your leads, and your sales, right? You can think of it as a digital notebook for your business where you can see who your customers are, what you talked about last time, and what they need next. Versus a Hyper CRM, which is basically a supercharged version of that specific notebook, right? Instead of only holding your customers list, it connects your whole business in one singular place. Now, what is actually different between a CRM and a Hyper CRM? First of all, a Hyper CRM is a one source of truth. Basically, everything lives in one singular space. Your sales, your projects, your invoices, and even your team's chats. Now, the benefits of this is that you have better visibility and collaboration. You have a better data accuracy. You have streamlined processes. You have enhanced customer experience and consistent definitions. Now, the second differentiation is that you have automation everywhere. Basically, it does the boring stuff for you. If you close a deal, it can create a new project, send a welcome email, and even schedule your first meeting automatically. This is just an example of how a specific branch in your Hyper CRM could look like. Now, the idea is that we are trying to have a CRM assist you in as many tasks as possible. We want to make the whole experience of working easier and more efficient. The third differentiation is that we have everything AI powered. This is where 2025 tech really shines, right? Because the Hyper CRM can summarize client calls, write project briefs, or even warn you if a project is falling behind. Again, these are just some specific examples. The idea here is that with AI and automation combined, we create a personalized experience for the client and a much smoother, organized, and clearer experience for us, the people that manage and work on everything. You can take this as a visualization. We are trying to basically remove the rocks from the river, the rocks being the manual tasks and the river being our workflow. And the fourth point is that we have data that actually talks. You can track everything in real time, which is a big deal. You can track revenue, project progress, and even how well your marketing is working, and actually make decisions based on data. This is what will actually help you scale your business. Now let's take this example. Imagine you run a creative agency studio with a Hyper CRM. It would look something like this. A website form is going to be submitted, therefore the lead enters your CRM automatically. A deal is auto-created, your pipeline is updated with project value. Then your tasks are being assigned instantly, an AI brief is being drafted, and live KPI refresh with dashboard is being updated. Basically replaces a few hours of manual work with a few automation that takes only minutes, which is a really big win if we're talking about managing a big team. With all of this in mind, you can see that a Hyper CRM can really help you scale your business and run it without burning out. Now let's see who a Hyper CRM is best for. A Hyper CRM is great for almost any businesses, but it really shines if you're running a digital business, where lots of moving parts need to stay connected. These are the main types of businesses. If you're a design studio, marketing agency, or video production team, a Hyper CRM keeps your clients' projects and deadlines in one singular place. If you are a service-based business, so for example, coaches, consultants, or agencies that handle multiple clients at the same time, you will love it because it will keep your sales, calls, and all of the tasks organized. If you have a productized service, so for example, if you sell fixed packages like web design packages or monthly ad campaigns, A Hyper CRM can track every step of the client journey without you lifting a finger. And if you're a small team that's scaling, the system will help you grow without dropping the ball on follow-ups and forgetting important details. If you're a solo freelancer with only 2 to 3 clients, maybe you don't really need a Hyper CRM for now, and a traditional CRM would actually do the job. But as you grow, a Hyper CRM can become a game changer in your business. So to recap everything, in short, if you have clients, projects, or revenue to track, and you want everything to talk to each other, a Hyper CRM is the way to go. Before you even open ClickUp, Notion, or any other tool, you actually need a plan. So let's see how we are going to be planning a Hyper CRM. A Hyper CRM isn't just about adding apps, right? It's about building a system that matches your specific business. The first step is to map the client journey, right? You need to ask yourself as many questions as possible. For example, how do clients find you? How do you onboard them? How do you deliver your work? And how do you invoice and track payments? These are only a few examples. So an example for a creative studio would look like this. The lead comes in, we have a discovery call, then we have to send the proposal, project starts, delivery, payment, follow-up, and you're done. The second step would be to list the core spaces that you actually need. Think of a Hyper CRM as connected rooms, right? You need to have the sales hub, you need to have the project hub, finance hub, communication hub, automation hub, and an AI layer. The third step would be to decide what actually you should automate, right? Automation is where the magic actually happens. So again, we need to ask ourselves a lot of questions like what tasks are eating our time? Where do you repeat the same steps? What happens every single time you close a deal? And some automation examples could look like this. For closing a deal, you could auto-create a project space. For assigning tasks, you could auto-notify the team, right? Or you could send onboarding emails automatically. The fourth step would be to actually pick your tools. So you don't need to code or to be super technical, which is really cool and really important actually. You need to start with tools you already know. These are some examples that I am personally using. ClickUp or Notion for managing spaces, May.com or Zapier for automations, and OpenAI or other AI tools for the AI layer. Basically, you need to think in 3 layers. You need a space where to build everything. I chose ClickUp and Notion because I'm familiar with them and they are really easy to use. You need a layer where you can automate various tasks. For instance, I chose Make.com and Zapier here. And you need an AI layer. You need an AI app that can help you personalize a lot of the things. For instance, OpenAI because I'm really familiar with how they work and with ChatGPT. And the fifth step is to start simple and then grow. You don't have to try to build a perfect system in one day. You are not going to be able to, I promise you. Start with one workflow like handling new leads and expand from there. Hyper CRMs are built step by step. Planning is the hardest part, but it's also the most important part because once you have the blueprint of how your client journey looks like and how your spaces look like, building becomes way easier. Now let me walk you through how a Hyper CRM could actually look like. So we are inside ClickUp right now and we have all of these spaces. These could be your hubs for your department. You can have the sales space, CRM space, delivery space, finances, and process library, right? Now, if you go into the sales space, here we have our pipeline, basically where we keep track of all of our leads and potential clients. You can see here that you can divide this into multiple custom spaces, into multiple custom stages, right? You can have a lead, then you have your call booked, you can have your proposal, negotiation, and statement of work. This is why it's really easy to use ClickUp. You can customize the hell out of it. Now, if we are going to add some automations layers on top, it could look a little bit like this. You could do this manually, right? You could have a lead, or you could automate the actual collection of the data from the lead. So let's say you have a form here, you could do this too. This is just an example, right? You could have a form inside ClickUp where you could connect the contact person, the company name, sales stage, email, whatever, that your lead can actually complete, or you personally can complete. And once you complete this, a new task is going to be created in your pipeline. Therefore, all of the data is going to automatically be sent to your CRM, right? And you're going to have a new lead. For example, Michael Corey. Once the call has been booked, you can move him like this. Once the proposal has been sent, again, move him all the way to statement of work. Therefore, this means that once he has signed the contract, for example, let's say we are a design studio, he signs the contract to work with us, right? We are going to move him to one because he is our client right now. And once we are going to move him to one, we have here an automation inside ClickUp. This is not an external automation. This is an automation inside ClickUp, really cool. That basically does this. Whenever we are going to change the status of our tasks, let's say our lead is going to change the status from any to one, so we already won the lead to a client, he is going to automatically be moved to the deals list inside our CRM. So right now he is set to 1. This means that if you go to our CRM in the deals list, which you see Michael Corey. You can see Michael Corey right here, onboarding, right? Again, we have everything divided and basically filtered on the status, so that we can have a clearer image on who is onboarding, who is an active client, and who is offboarding. You could add a lot of custom variables to all of your tasks, which is really, really cool. For example, you can see and set the health that you have with your client. So what is the relationship like? If it's green, it's really good. If it's yellow, it's okay, and if it's red, it's pretty bad. Your relationship with that client is pretty bad. And you can have all of these other things like billing, when was the starting date, when he signed the contract, right? When you did everything with him. You can keep track of as many points as possible. Therefore, if you have all of these data, right? If you know that his billing is monthly, if you know what he's billing, if you know your health, you can track all of these things. Therefore, you can have clear KPIs and you can have data-driven decisions in the future for your business. You could add, by the way, custom variables by clicking this plus sign, add a column, right? And you can create a field here. Let's go over to all of these other spaces, right? Here we are in the CRM space where we have all of the deals, right? We keep track of all of our clients, which are active, onboarding and offboarding. We have data of all of the companies that we have worked with, right? Their address, website, team size, whatever. You could automate this in order to enrich your lead. You can use Clay table for this, so you can create an automation that whenever you have another company that is entering your deals list, you have an automation that is triggered and is collecting all of this data from other websites. It's scraping data about your client, their website, their team size, their VAT, when they were founded, country, all of these are data, because it's really nice to have a lot of information about your client. You can customize a lot. Then you can have a contacts field where you keep track of all of your past contacts that you came up in contact with from all of these other companies, right? And you can even have a contractor database because, again, for this example, we are a design studio. We have all of the freelancers that we have worked with their contractor category, their payment type, their contractor rate, and their proficiency level. You can customize a lot in this. Then you can have the delivery space. For example, this is going to be the space where we are going to assign the tasks to our designers, right? For example, for Food Line, we need to do some website designing. You have all of these other mini tasks like from A to Z, initial discovery meeting, site architecture planning, wireframe development, UI designing, so on and so forth. You could add dependencies. So basically you can have milestones and automate based on milestones. So for example, when we get to UI design for internal pages, we can have an automation in behind where we are going to send a notification to our team or a notification directly to our client that is going to say, okay, we are already on this step. We need to schedule another meeting in the next few days. If you go to the finance space, you can track the revenue, you can track the expenses of your company. And here you can have a process library where you have all of your SOPs, all of the documentation in order to have everything running smoothly. So these are just some examples on how a Hyper CRM could be structured like. After we have all of these structures, we have the second layer, which is the automation layer, right? So you could automate within ClickUp if you are using ClickUp. Again, I think in Notion you can do this too. You have the Automate tab where you can manage automations. By the way, you need a business plan in order to have multiple automations running at the same time, which is around $20 per month. In my opinion, is not that expensive if you have a pretty big team. HubSpot is way more expensive, right? So here you can create a lot of automations that are basically triggering a lot of tasks and moving a lot of tasks within ClickUp itself. And for the other for the other automation layer, we could go to make.com, just like I said. This is an example. This is my client onboarding process. So whenever we have a new client, right, his first task is to pay us the contract, right? Now, when the payment is going to go through, the Stripe notification is going to trigger this whole automation inside me.com. We are going to send him a custom welcoming email. We are going to create Google Drive folders to share with him, and we are going to share a link with those folders to him. We're going to send it. We are going to create a Slack channel and invite him to that Slack channel. We can create, again, we can save all of these other contracts. We can save the contracts and the invoice inside a Google Drive folder. We can again populate our CRM inside ClickUp with all of the informations from the Stripe notification, and also we can notify our team inside Slack. You can see that these are a lot of tasks that are basically being done in around 15 seconds, which is crazy powerful. And if you combine these types of automations where you basically link a lot of other external apps like Google Drive, Slack with the automations inside ClickUp, then you are going to have a really, really strong automation layer. And this is what a Hyper CRM actually is about. If you go into the AI layer inside ClickUp, we have their AI. We have ClickUp Brain, which is really, really cool because He has access to all of the information inside your ClickUp, inside all of your spaces. Therefore, it's like having an assistant that knows exactly where everything is being kept and knows exactly how to find everything that you want to find inside your whole spaces, which is really cool. And if you go a step further, again, we have OpenAI, which is the other AI layer that we are talking about. And we can implement OpenAI for this specific example, or whatever AI you are going to use. You can use Claude with the make.com automations. Therefore, we can personalize our emails, right? Or we can personalize the messages that we send via Slack, or we can manipulate the data that we have gotten from his contract or from a brief that he sent us. We can play with these like a lot. So basically, a Hyper CRM should look exactly like this. You need to have a hub, a space where you keep all of the information inside your company, inside your business. You should keep all of the leads, all of the clients, all of the SOPs, all of the documentation about how everything works, everything in one singular space, right? Then you should have an automation layer, which would automate the manual tasks that you would have done in the past, or some of your assistants would have done, like moving tasks from one list to another, like updating a few dates, like storing some of your emails or some of the data inside your space, right? And then we have the AI layer, which is basically going to help you boost everything like a 2x when it comes to speed, when it comes to personalization, when it comes to the experience that you are actually delivering to your client. This is what a Hyper CRM actually looks like. I don't want to go into more detail when it comes to this specific example, because I want you to be as creative as possible when it comes to your specific example, your business. So first of all, it's really important that you need to sketch everything out. You need to have a clear visual picture on how you structure everything, what tools you use, and how you build all of those systems. This is why I actually created an asset, which is a Notion page, which step-by-step tasks for you in order to be able to create your own Hyper CRM space. Now, I'm going to save this asset into my emailing list, so it is going to be down below in the description. If you want to access it, click the link down below. What you need to remember is that you need to start building small. You need to start with only a few pieces of your workflow. You need to start with a pretty basic hierarchy when it comes to your CRM at the beginning. And you need to have a really good communication with your employees, with actually the people that are going to use this Hyper CRM, because it's basically going to be your whole business in one singular space. So you need to know exactly how everything is going to run, how everything is going to be laid out, and how everything is going to be automated. Take your time. If you are able to build a Hyper CRM, please build a Hyper CRM, because it's such a game changer. And if you have any more questions about this specific topic, drop them down below in the comments. I will read them and I will respond to you. Until next time, see you guys.